and welcome to the Sharon Binford Show, where we talk about all things fabulous. Today I'd like to talk about manners that matter. This one is about age, so it's kind of a big one. Alright, tell me if I'm wrong, but isn't it like just known that you aren't supposed to ask people their age? Like, that's just kind of inappropriate. Like, it's not a question that you ask, but it's something that someone shares with you if they feel comfortable with you. Like, that's what I always thought and still think. In the last 2 months, I've been asked my age several times. One of them was at work, actually. I was sharing the elevator with somebody that worked in a different department but at the same company as me, and on the way up to our office, he was like, "Oh, what do you do here?" And then he was like, "What's your job title?" And then finally he came up with this gem, "How old are you?" And it was just like, I had answered the other two questions because I just figured like maybe he just genuinely wants to know, but and even if he really did want to know how old I was, that's just, I just said to him, I don't really think that people ask each other that. And he was like, "Oh, well, you know, I'm sorry, but like, I was just wondering." And I'm like, "Yeah, guess it'll just stay a mystery." Like, it was really weird. It made me feel really uncomfortable when he asked me. Every question that he asked me basically made me feel uncomfortable, but that one I was just like not cool with, and I'm like, isn't this known that we don't ask people this? I don't know. I just think it's weird. The second time that somebody asked me how old I was walking by. I was passing this person's house, so it was a corner lot. He came outside when I was passing his front door, and he was like on his cell phone, and he had a Solo cup. And then I turned the corner, and he kind of followed me and was like, "Hey, like, do you live around here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I live in the neighborhood." He lived on the other side of the neighborhood as me, so we don't really see each other ever. So I guess he'd never seen me before, and he was like, "Oh, have you been living here for a minute?" Now, first, this is like a preppy kid, and he's like, "Have you been living here for a minute?" I'm like, who are you trying to be right now? But anyway, I was like, no, I've actually lived here for like 15 years. And he's like, "Oh, how old are you?" And I'm like, I don't think that people ask each other that. And he was just like, "You must look younger than you are," or whatever. And I don't really think that's the case. I think that I just don't like it when people are rude. Anyway, and that's the other thing. I feel like people shouldn't need to ask me how old I am. Like, I think that I look exactly how old a stereotypical person that's my age would look. So whatever you think I am, that's probably what I am. So I don't know. I think it's rude. I think that we need to get back to, like, we don't ask people this, stay away from it, it's off limits, because it makes people feel really uncomfortable. And I think that that is the perfect gauge to know whether or not you're being polite or you're being rude, is what are other people's comfort levels. If you're making somebody else feel uncomfortable, you're certainly not being polite, and you could very possibly be being rude. Most polite people just never make anyone feel uncomfortable. So, you know, that's why you offer somebody a glass of water or a drink when they come to your house, because, you know, they just came from somewhere, they might be thirsty. That's why it's rude to fart in front of other people, because it makes the room smell bad, and therefore other people are uncomfortable. So as long as everybody, I mean, if your fart smells like flowers and it makes everybody like happy, then that's not rude. See, that's how I like to gauge my behavior, whether it's polite or rude. It all depends on how I'm making the other person feel. So I think we need to put this in our little manner books. Don't ask people how old they are, whether they're 10 years old or they're, you know, 95. Even like, you know, little kids that you could be trying to like determine which one of the siblings is the oldest one, and you could get it wrong. And I know when I was growing up, everybody always thought that I was the oldest sister, but I'm not. I'm the middle sister. And it made my older sister so mad, because she was always trying to be, and she was so much more like, you know, polite and just like dainty and like mature and I was just kind of a tomboy. A great way to find out how old somebody is to ask them about their life. Talking to them, asking them questions about who they are and what they do and what they like to do. You usually will be able to determine how old they are depending on those other things in their life. And then not only do you know how old they are, but you also have really kind of cultivated a friendship, and then everyone's just happier. So just don't be rude and ask people how old they are, no matter if it's a boy or a girl or a woman or a man. Just stay away from that question, ask them something else, and that will help you determine how old they are if that's what you really want to know. Thank you for watching the Sharon Binford Show. I hope that you don't know anyone rude enough to ask you how old you are. But if they are, I hope that you come back with a fabulous comeback, and I'd love to know what it is in the comments.
It's like multiple times!
Oh shit. How are you gonna get down now? It's pretty far up there. Oh shit. Hang on.